Okay, now we're starting off on the right one. I had created a Wuthering Waves stream, and then a family emergency happened, and I got distracted, and I tried starting my stream with Wuthering Waves instead of Kaiju number 8. So apologies, everyone, for being almost 30 minutes late. Everything's been corrected, the correct streams are in the right places, and Wuthering Waves is scheduled properly at 2 o'clock later. Let's go ahead and begin with more Kaiju number 8, shall we? Well, firstly, let me go ahead and get the actual volume ready. Yeah, there we go. Okay, good. Yo, peoples! Oh no, I hope everyone's okay. Everyone's fine. It's a more personal thing, but not life-threatening. It's more personal than life-threatening. So all the same, it was an emergency. So I was kind of distracted taking care of the boys and dealing with that as well. But everything's fine. Everything's fine. Hold on. Let me refresh this because I got to refresh chat so that it... Right, because since this is a brand new stream and I put the... This is a Kaiju number 8 stream, so I got to fix that. Hold on. That's on me. Yeah, a lot happened in the past 10 minutes. Okay, fixed. All right, good. And I completely forgot to have on my reading hat. But yo, peoples, KAIJU92 here. Welcome back to more Kaiju number 8. So, a lot of things happened in Volume 3, where we saw the aftermath of Kafka fighting that shape-shifting kaiju, and then it pretty much led to Ichikawa and Iharu being rescued, but also Kafka got a promotion. He's now an official deputy officer now, and he's looking forward to trying to reading hat. Yes, this is my reading hat. But he's looking forward to getting stronger so that way he can get closer to Mina. But now we have a situation where while everyone is resting, you got a reading blanket and pillow. Nice! Reading paraphernalia. Reading wear. Reading chair. Reading everything. It's nice, isn't it? And I got my own personal mug too that's got my name on it because WB Games sent it to me, but that's another story for another time. But yeah, Kafka is, studying and training, and then this dragon-like kaiju just shows up out of nowhere and starts assaulting the base. And a lot of fighting is happening right now, and Vice Captain Hoshina is up against this particularly strong kaiju. And that's when Captain Hoshina releases 96% of his suit's power. So now we get to see just how strong Vice Captain Hoshina actually is. Now, since we're going through Volume 4, chapters 27 all the way down to 35 is what we're going to be reading through today. So, Chapter 27. And we have numerous soldiers firing on these kaiju, and mind you, these are like the dragon-looking kaiju, and it starts to prepare to breathe fire and kill this girl, and she's looking shocked until Kafka comes running in with partial transformation, and Kafka came in and grabbed the girl out of nowhere.
Mr. Hibino, thank you.
You're not her, are you, Minase? Looks like you got
the hang of using that suit.
Well, I am a general officer now, so at the bare minimum I should. And mind you, he says partial transformation, but that's because he's using the power of his kaiju state versus actually using the suit's power. And I forgot the next thing I was supposed to have. I completely forgot what I was supposed to have. I was supposed to have chat off to the side here so I could see you guys just fine. Hold up. See, so much happened. I was just so distracted that I forgot all I needed to do in the span of just like a couple of minutes. All right, we're good again. Okay. But Kafka basically partially transformed to allow him to speed up and save this girl. Well, I am a general officer now. Sorry, general officer, not deputy officer. My bad. So at the bare minimum, I should. And the same kaiju is starting to breed, actually, another one of these Honju are right behind him. And Minase screams,
Mr. Hibino, behind you!
And all of a sudden, this same kaiju just gets obliterated out of nowhere. And Kafka's looking, Minase's looking, and it's Kikoru with her big old giant battle axe. You know, the one that can... Don't beat yourself up. I know, but I like to be punctual, I like to be professional, and I like to not keep people waiting. That's something that I share... That's something that I share with Sasori from Naruto. I don't like to keep people waiting. That's just me. That's just a particular quirk I have. But Kikoru comes in with her battle axe. Kikoru? Sir, are you all right? And we have Ichikawa.
Reno and I will draw away the kaiju. Protect the injured in the meantime.
And then both Minase and Kafka go, Roger. And then Ichikawa comes in on the intercom in the comlink going, Hey, sir, don't do anything reckless out there. You're a general officer now. Have faith in your squad. And then Kafka gets like a determined look on his face and goes, You got it. Okay, I'm off. See you later. And then Kikoru and the rest of the soldiers, along with Ichikawa, start beating up on this kaiju. And then we have Ikonogi. Ikonogi? Okonogi. Okonogi? Is it Okonogi? Ah! This names!
Report! Nakanoshima platoon has arrived!
Sorry for the wait, Ikaruga.
Freaking kaiju think they can run wild, eh?
Also, Ebina platoon has arrived and is heading south as reinforcements.
Great! All the senior officers that were off duty
have come to back us up! Shinomiya squad and Agatsuma platoon too.
Oh, ooh.
Shinomiya squad and Agatsuma's platoon. 2 Yoju down. Takao platoon.
Oh wait, Takao platoon here. Snipers organized. Commencing freeze round sniping of the airborne kaiju. All these different platoons are just coming out of nowhere. This is Itakura platoon. Storehouse area secured. And Kafka's listening to all of this. We're pushing them back little by little. In spite of this emergency going on without the captain here. Oh wait, this is I was reading Kafka's line wrong. We're pushing them back little by little, in spite of this emergency going on without the captain here. All right, Minase, let's hurry and get the injured to safety.
Right.
Man, they're so amazing. I don't just mean Kikoru and Ichikawa either. Everyone is so amazing. Hold on. Ever since I was sick last year, my windpipe just wants to keep having these residual coughs. I will not allow it to infringe on my reading today. Everyone is so amazing, and this is the division that I'm a part of. This is... And then we get back to Vice Captain Hoshina. You picked the wrong customers to scrap with. This is the 3rd division. We're winning this fight, buddy. And then this same large kaiju with a single horn and a long tail, it's preparing to fight Hoshina. But all of a sudden, its right arm is missing. It sucks. I know. It's still lingering there. That's the reason why you've been hearing me cough sometimes during streams or whatever, is because when I was sick that one time last year, recently, the after effects of it has had me coughing kind of indiscriminately from time to time. So it's just been that. And I've been hoping that I can cough whatever it is. It could also be allergies. Big Boom is getting started soon. That could be another thing. And it probably just means that I need to vacuum my room again. But just telling you guys, just so you can know. But Hoshina just slices off this kaiju's arm.
He did it again, just like the strike that lopped off my arm before. He's cutting through the gaps in my shell with precision. This guy.
And the kaiju's face starts to open up.
This guy doesn't impress me.
This kaiju is not... This kaiju is not impressed that Hoshina is slicing into his body.
It's such a cheap little trick. If you know what you're after, I can easily deal with it by...
And when he says this, Hoshina dashes past him, and proceeds to cut him across his chest. In an instant before this kaiju could even react to it. Hoshina style sword slay technique number 2. Cross slasher.
So, aiming for the gaps was just a diversion.
Number 4. Wild slasher. And Hoshina just keeps slicing this kaiju apart.
Yeah, this is the way a fight should be.
As this kaiju's head is just kind of off of its axis and tilting over while he's staring at Hoshina. But then it starts instantly regenerating all of these cuts that Hoshina has done to it.
Meeting an opponent that rivals myself in power and trading blows with them head on.
And Hoshina is just bouncing all over the place while this kaiju is constantly yelling,
Rival, 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 rival!
And when he goes to try and hit Hoshina, this kaiju finds its arm just sliced into chunks. You know, that core of yours is smaller than I expected. And the kaiju can only look backwards as Hoshina, who was behind him at first, is suddenly in front of him, and we see 8 different slashes across this thing's body, while it also converges onto one point. Number 6, 8-fold slasher. And then Okonogi is going,
He did it!
But then the body of this kaiju starts bubbling and inflating. No, not yet! And it starts getting bigger and bigger, like it's looking like it's about to explode. Anyone who watched the finale of Cell vs. Gohan knows exactly what I'm talking about. And that's the end of chapter 27. Onwards to chapter 28! We're going to make some good time, and then we'll play some Wuthering Waves later on, because tomorrow for Tuesday will be Monster Hunter Wilds! Chapter 28, and this tailed kaiju starts inflating more and more and more. And then Hoshina and Okonogi is Okonogi? I'm gonna get her name wrong until I see it again, and then I'm gonna be like, that's what it is!
Don't tell me it's...
And then Kafka can tell something's going on. He can sense it. He can sense that the kaiju, something is happening to that tailed kaiju.
Mr. Hibino?
And this is Minase.
What the heck? What the heck? My detection ability activated, but I'm not even transformed. The vice captain!
And that tailed kaiju starts to get bigger and bigger until it starts to become larger than the buildings.
It's turning giant. The position of its core shifted. I wasn't able to fully destroy it.
And the kaiju starts getting larger and larger and larger. And then it creates mouths all over its growth of a body. And it expels like this, I don't know, gas? It's steam. It's steam.
Super high temperature steam. Dragging it into the training grounds was the right call.
Its fortitude is climbing with the discharge of heat.
And the kaiju starts changing more and more again. Until its face completely opens up, like its eyepiece, which was split down, up into the sides, it starts to open up even more, and we can see its eye inside. And its teeth it had like a set of teeth, and then a set of like square set of like human-like teeth behind it, but now that's completely gone.
No! Fortitude 9.0!
And this tailed kaiju has become basically a very large, a giant kaiju. A dai kaiju. Sorry, not a regular kaiju, but it's a giant dai kaiju.
But that means the vice captain can't handle this kaiju by himself.
And before Okanogi can say anything, the dai kaiju punches where Hoshina is, and it craters the ground from the impact. Mind you, this particular kaiju was already incredibly powerful just fighting at its normal size. Now that it's larger, its attack power has increased 100-fold, and it shatters the buildings and the ground just from its punch.
Vice Cap.
And then it shows that Hoshina is fine as he starts running up the arm of this kaiju.
Number 3, Return Slasher.
And he starts slashing across the kaiju. And he starts jumping all over this thing's body while it's trying to, swat at Hoshina. But it doesn't look like it's doing much damage.
Incredible. He's adapting to its change in size. But...
And we see the cuts, but the cuts... First, I went from coughing, now I'm going to sneezing. It's going to come out. It's always two. Oh, it fooled me. I thought it was going to be 2. But the cuts from Hoshina are not deep enough.
The blade's not cutting all the way through. This is why giant-class kaiju suck. Gotta up my attack speed to break through to the core on its back. It's the only way I'll...
And then all of a sudden, Hoshina, he starts having veins that pop up on his face. Thank you, Kitty. He starts having veins that come up on his face, and then he starts bleeding. I think this is a side effect of him trying to activating his suit all the way to 96%. Now he's suffering drawbacks because he's bleeding from the nose all of a sudden.
Overheat.
It's already been 10 minutes since maximum release.
Maintaining that state any longer is dangerous. I sense the sneeze, but it doesn't want to move. It's going to wait until I'm in the middle of a sentence. And I'm trying to force it out by speaking, but it's lingering. And when I stop speaking, it stops. I hate that. Maintaining that state any longer is dangerous. And the Dai Kaiju tries to hit Hoshina, but he dodges out of the way.
So I'm down to 1 minute at best, huh?
And the Dai Kaiju sends more of those flying Honju towards him. Flying Yoju. My bad. He sends these flying Yoju towards him. Look at the light. I'm going to see spots. Look at the light, it'll come out. That's interesting. All I see is like the spot where I see the spots for my ring light here. I'm gonna keep going. If it happens, it happens. I gotta keep moving. I don't want to bore you guys. But the Dai Kaiju sends Yoju towards Hoshina.
Yoju?
And then the Dai Kaiju closes its fist, and all of a sudden, those Yoju's bodies expand all of a sudden. And in that single instance, Hoshina realizes that this Dai Kaiju can make these Yoju explode. He can make them explode. There are tens of these things. I'm not going to say tens of hundreds because I don't know how many there are. But there's a ton of them. And the fact that he can just, this Kaiju can just close its fist and make them self-destruct, and it's a considerably large explosion. If he did that for all of the Yoju around the area, it could cause widespread destruction. I didn't mean stare right at the bulb, just into the close area. Well, it's a good thing I don't have it set to a very, very bright setting. Otherwise, that would be troublesome. But yeah, I get what you mean. Look close to it. It's not working. It's going to happen when I'm trying to read. But the Yoju explodes.
It's self-destructed?
This is the kind of cold-blooded attack I'd expect from a kaiju. It pretty much turned them into living missiles.
And Hoshina just starts speeding, and he runs right between the legs of the Yoju.
But hey, it makes for a mighty fine smokescreen.
And Hoshina jumps behind the kaiju, the Dai Kaiju, positioned right behind its head, going,
Number 6.
He made it in time!
And Hoshina jumps at the kaiju, but that's terrifying. But while he's jumping at it, when I turn the page, the Dai Kaiju created openings in its back, all of it having eyes where it can see Hoshina, meaning that Hoshina, it doesn't have a blind spot. It has eyes all over its body. And they're all staring at Hoshina. And then all we get is a big old fist towards Hoshina, and it sends Hoshina flying in the opposite direction with its punch, destroying every single building in the process, like every single building in its wake. And Okonogi is looking while the kaiju still has its fist flex, and a piece of debris falls down, and we have Vice Captain Hoshina laid up against a crater he landed in.
Overheat. Maximum release. Deactivated.
Vice Captain!
And Hoshina looks completely unconscious. He is out. His eyes are glazed over. He's bleeding from, like, basically his face and his nose and mouth. He's down for the count right now. That's the end of chapter 28. Onwards to chapter 29. And then we got 28.1 because of illustrations. Moving on, chapter 29. Chapter 29, and we have a young Hoshina. Give up on joining the defense force. And I guess this is his father. If this were the Edo period, you'd be lauded as a prodigy. But the era of blades is long over. Try to understand, Soshiro.
Vice Captain! Vice Captain! Vice Captain! Vice Captain!
Okonogi!
Don't worry, I'm still kicking.
So, Okonogi. I'm gonna make my mouth remember.
Okonogi. Don't worry, I'm still kicking.
And he still has enough energy to just put his fingers up and just smile despite going through several buildings and landing in a crater.
Ow. Even with the shield cranked up to max, that kaiju was no frickin' joke. My max release is deactivated too. Status on the outside.
Civilians will be fully evacuated soon. The troops are finally making progress fending off the Yoju as well.
I see. That's a relief. Well, I better hop to it too. I've got a job to do, and I intend to finish it. As it shows the Dai Kaiju preparing to hit Hoshina again.
But sir, you're in no condition to fight any more.
And then it just shows Hoshina jumping out of the way before this Dai Kaiju can hit him again.
Hoshina style sword slay technique number 1.
And it shows Hoshina slicing across this Kaiju's chest again. And him dodging out of the way of this Dai Kaiju trying to hit him.
I've got you figured out. Those blades won't beat me.
And then Hoshina's just thinking,
shut your friggin' mouth. I've known that for a while now.
Then we go back in time when Hoshina's father is speaking to him.
Give up, Soshiro. Your unleashed combat power for marksman weaponry is low. That simply will not do in the modern era.
I suggest you give up, Hoshina. Kaiju in recent years are trending towards giant class. You're bound to get killed using blades alone. I'm telling you this for your own good. Forget battling on the field and apply your sword-slaying techniques as an instructor.
And this is just another person from the Defense Force trying to talk to him. It was his father at first, and then it was just someone from the Defense Force.
I've been hearing that crap since I was a kid, but she told me something different.
Soshiro Hoshina, I hear that you're a blade specialist.
Oh, this must have been... Was this Mina? Is this Mina when she was, a little bit younger and she didn't have her hair in this massively long ponytail?
I hear that you're a blade specialist.
Yes, that's correct. Oh boy, here comes the same old line. You should just give...
I need your abilities. Will you join my force, Hoshina?
And it is Mina. With the same hair clips. Yo, Ravi, it's good to see you, my friend. With the same hair clips. But her hair is shorter. Yo, don't worry about it. I was late too. I was late too. I had to deal with some things.
I need your abilities. Will you join my force, Hoshina?
And this opened up Hoshina's eyes. And we're still in this flashback.
We cannot overlook the possibility of powerful miniature-sized threats cropping up down the line. Also, I'm totally inept with blade weaponry, unlike yourself. I try not to handle a kitchen knife if I can help it.
She's not good with anything? Bladed? Not even a kitchen knife? She's a klutz with knives? My word.
When I need to shoot a threat, can I trust that you'll clear a path for me?
And then we're back in the present. She left me in charge of the base. And then the Kaiju's tail comes down and almost hits Hoshina, but he's right beside it. I'll defend it to the end. And he jumps up on the tail and starts cutting across his Kaiju all over. Number 2, cross slasher. Number 3, return slasher. Number 4, wild slasher. Number 5, mist slasher. Number 6. And while Hoshina is screaming number 6, the Kaiju manages to catch him and get Hoshina in its fist. And this is a shock to Hoshina, Okonogi, and Kafka, who's running to see Vice Captain Hoshina in its grip. Vice Captain! And then Kafka is thinking, don't do anything reckless out there, from Ichikawa. And then Kafka closes his eyes and then opens them and goes, Ichikawa, I'm sorry. Huh? You don't mean... No, don't! Because it also shows panels where there are drones everywhere. If you transform here, then there'll really be no escape! Every life on the squad is worth saving. And then all of a sudden, we get someone going,
Good job holding things down, everyone.
Is this Mina? Is this Mina? Kafka was in the process of proceeding to transform. Who remembers Goku versus Vegeta? Yeah, I remember it. Like their very first fight? Their very first fight? Yeah, I remember it. But is this Mina?
Good job holding things down, everyone.
But Kafka was in a... You see it starting to go up his face when he was preparing to transform. But Kafka's surprised. So is Ichikawa, Kikoru, Aoi, and Iharu. Everyone is shocked.
That voice! It's...
Hey, Kaiju. I got you beat.
And then all of a sudden, a big old gunshot goes off and takes out a chunk of this Daikaiju's torso, along with what connects his left arm to its body. And it's surprised to see this. And Kafka's surprised to see this as well. Who do we know uses a big old cannon to shoot things? I know someone who does.
I'm the vice captain of this base. Passing the baton to her is my job.
Then we get like a... Oh, I like that! I like that! And just picture the most mechanical M1 Garand reload sound. You know, like we just get that.
Okonogi. A bridging request due to emergency. Yes, ma'am. I'm blasting this thing away. Unleash maximum combat power. 96%.
And not only is Mina here, but she's also here with her big old giant white tiger. And she's got her big old cannon. And that's the end of chapter 29. Onwards to chapter 30. The pacing for that particular chapter, chapter 29, was very well done. My kind of weapon? Oh, you would love the heavy bowgun from Monster Hunter. But then again, there are so many games that just give you a full-on giant gun to use. And it's just overly large. But yeah, we'll talk about that later. We can have that as a conversation topic when I'm playing Wuthering Waves later today. Kaiju number 8, chapter 30.
I'm blasting this thing away.
And then all of the squad leaders who are here are all smiling because they know that Captain Mina is deadly serious.
Captain Ashiro.
Mina! And Mina fires. Wow. The white tiger is not for show. Since the white tiger is so large, it leans directly into Mina to counteract the recoil from firing this giant flat cannon that she's using. It's leaning into her. It's leaning into her to counteract the overall effects. I told you, this is literally like Soifon's Jako Raikoben. This is literally that. But the kaiju kind of notices, and then it kind of leans out of the way just a little bit. So only a small chunk of it gets taken off. Then it starts sending more of those Yoju after it.
Captain, the core seems to be located on its back, around the 4th to 6th thoracic vertebra.
Wow, the last time I heard a character referencing the thoracic vertebra was Kidomaru fighting against Neji and how he discovered the weak blind spot, the blind spot of the Byakugan. It's been so long since I basically watched Naruto. How do I still remember that conversation after all these years? Good God.
Captain, the core seems to be located on its back, around the 4th to 6th thoracic vertebra. Roger.
Bako! And oh, that's the name of the tiger. Bako leans into Mina again so she can shoot the Daikaiju again, but it moves out of the way so that way its vitals won't be hit.
It predicted the trajectory of the shot?
Its regeneration is speeding up as well.
Yeah, figures. Welp, guess it's time for one final push.
Unleashed combat power. 63%, and Hoshina just starts booking it towards the Daikaiju. Number 4, Wild Slasher, and he slashes into the leg of the Daikaiju, distracting it. I'll cut down its mobility. Cross slasher to create an opening. And it looks like the kaiju is preparing to stomp down on him, and Hoshina jumps away. And then we get Okanogi again.
This is absurd, sir. Your suit is already well past its limit.
And the Dai Kaiju is immediately regenerating after all of this. It's regenerating. I'm not outputting enough. What do I do now? And then all of a sudden, Kikoru comes in right past Vice Captain Hoshina. Shinomiya.
Water skimmer!
And she tries to slice into the leg of the kaiju, but the hit doesn't do anything, even with her using combat power and the specifically designed battle axe of hers.
Darn it! At my current level, I can't even put a scratch on it!
Never mind that, just keep at it, Shinomiya. I'll cut open the shell, then you chop into him.
Roger!
So now we have Hoshina and Kikoru working together.
Ah!
That's her battle cry. And they're working together to disable. They're working together to reduce the mobility of this Daikaiju, and it starts wobbling from this combined hit.
Yeah, that worked.
But then Kikoru starts bleeding from the nose. Oh, she's overheating as well. An overheat. You've done enough. Good work. Number 6, Eightfold Slasher, and slices straight through the leg of the kaiju thanks to the combined efforts of himself and Kikoru. And the kaiju kind of falls to the side a little bit because its leg has been completely chopped off. Don't give him time to regenerate. All I need is 5 more seconds. So come on, body, work with me. And then we go back in time again, with him thinking about Mina.
When I need to shoot a threat, can I trust that you'll clear a path for me?
Gotta cut and cut. Gotta cut and clear a path. That's the only thing that proves I exist. And he keeps fighting harder and harder, blood coming out of his eyes and his nose and his mouth because he's literally forcing his body to fight even harder. And then there's an explosion on the back of this kaiju that exposes its spine, thanks to Mina.
Core exposed! 1 magazine remaining!
And Mina prepares the fire again.
Thank you, Hoshina. I'm truly glad I picked you as my vice captain. Now it's time for me to shoot the threat.
That's the captain of this base. I told you earlier, didn't I? You pick the wrong customers to scrap with. And then the kaiju just screams out as its entire torso just gets completely obliterated, which includes the same place where the core was. And that's how we end the chapter, seeing this kaiju's entire torso just having an entire hole put into it. And that's the end of chapter 30. Let me get past this illustration page. Onwards to chapter 31. Combined effort goes insane for this boss. I know, right? 2 heads are better than 1. Chapter 31. Oh, and we have a little page here where it shows an adult Kafka wielding a pistol with a young kid Kafka having a water pistol. I haven't used a super soaker in decades. It's been that long. It's been over a decade since I actually tried to use a super soaker. I wonder what new ones they have. But now we have the Dai Kaiju's body as it falls over. Kikoru, she's bleeding and dealing with overheat. So is Hoshina, he's bleeding and dealing with overheat. And the body of the kaiju completely falls over. Give me a sec. Huh. I thought someone was knocking at my door there for a second. But the Dai Kaiju's body falls over, and it's not moving.
Captain Ashido, Vice Captain Hoshina, and Private Shinomiya have taken down the Honju!
And everyone is cheering. And it shows Mina just breathing out a sigh of relief. And then it shows Mina on top of the building, and she jumps off of it. And then we have Kafka, whose eyes are just tearing up because they're like, that is so awesome. That is so awesome.
Incredible as always, isn't she? Captain Ashido, that is.
Ichikawa speaking to Kafka.
Yeah, I knew I was right all along. This is what I've wanted to be ever since I was a kid. An officer. One of them. They're just so friggin' cool.
And he's just tearing up because he sees Mina saluting, he sees Hoshina saluting, he sees Kikoru saluting, and he's just standing there bawling his eyes out, going,
I want to be in that circle one day too.
And then it cuts to Ichikawa going, you're making quite the ugly face. Pardon me. That's crazy. The power of the water output is painful after about 15 seconds. I haven't used a super soaker in over a decade. I wonder how much stronger they've become. Because I know we got new ones where you can just dip it into water and it auto fills and it's battery operated and you actually get to fire automated shots. There are automatic water guns now. Now I'm gonna have to go on a deep dive. Speaking of deep dives, we got to do those customers bringing cars to mechanics videos. We still got to do those. We still got to watch those. You're making quite the ugly face, sir. Sorry, I'm getting distracted. My apologies. Focusing on the task at hand here. You're making quite the ugly face, sir.
How would you know? You can't even see me.
I can picture it.
Listen, bucko, I don't appreciate your dry wit during my tearful emotional moment.
Things have only just begun, sir. Let's do our best to catch up.
And then Kafka just slightly smiles as he's looking at Mina, Hoshina, and Kikoru.
Yeah, let's.
The captain and I will wipe out the Yoju. You get some rest. No, you rest too.
And Mina just comes in and just chops Hoshina in the back of the head.
Even if we did run into some Yoju stragglers, you'd be in no condition to fight.
Well, my suit is all banged up. I'd probably just drag you down. Oh well, no fighting it. I suppose I'll take you up on that offer and rest.
So, let me tell you what I'm looking at. The next page is a double spread panel of Mina, Kikoru, and Hoshina standing there, while all of the Yoju that came there have decided to assimilate and mesh into each other and are expanding. I brought this up. But, yeah, y'all know how I said, like, okay, so one of these Yoju can explode and it can take out an entire block. And then I says, if all of these things went off, it would cause so much devastation across an entire area. Well, it looks like my worst fears have been realized because now they're all starting to combine together. If one can take out an entire block, then all of these things combining together could take out the whole city. Because they're just floating above Mina and everyone else. And they're all inflating as if they're about to explode, too. And this gets their attention. And Hoshina, his eyes are wide and going, what the...
What is that? A super giant Yoju bomb!
And this is Okonogi saying this.
That screech in the sky earlier. You mean it wasn't its death rattle?
Yes, because it did scream. I didn't even think of that. It used its final death scream to make all of those Yoju combine together so that they could blow up. This really is a Cell versus Gohan. I don't want to lose, so I'm going to blow up the entire planet. This is really one of those moments. Since I lost, I'm going to make sure you all lose too. This is literally that.
That screech in the sky earlier, you mean that wasn't its death rattle?
All troops, fall back! Okanogi, get a magazine to Gate 83 and...
No, we're not going to make it. What do we do?
If that thing falls, it takes us and the base with it.
Hey, human.
And the head of that same kaiju, it can still talk.
Looks like this game is a draw.
And then it just cuts to Kafka, who immediately starts running, who just runs past Mina and Kikoru. And Hoshina. All three of them notice Kafka running.
Kafka, get back! You're going out there you going out there won't help one darn bit.
And then it shows Kafka running, and that's when Hoshina starts to notice,
wait a sec. How did he get so fast?
See? Because he's about to do it. I think he's about to do it.
Wait a sec. How did he get so fast? Someone with 1% unleashed combat power shouldn't be able to move like that.
And it shows Kafka, and he's just booking it across the city at a speed that Hoshina knows he shouldn't be able to move at. And then Kafka jumps off of a building, and he's thinking about talking to both Hoshina and Mina.
I'm sorry, Vice Captain Hoshina.
And Kafka immediately transforms into Kaiju number 8. And that's when Mina's surprised, Hoshina surprised, Ichikawa is shocked, Okanogi is screaming,
Super giant kaiju reading detected in the center of the base! Fortitude is 9.8! This reading, it's kaiju number 8! It's kaiju number 8!
So, the fact that Kafka's power is greater than the kaiju that Hoshina had a hard time against, he is almost Fortitude 10. But Kafka is standing here. He's standing there in front of this big giant amalgamation of kaiju combined exploding flesh. And that's the last thing we get is Kafka just roaring out loud towards this giant Yoju bomb. And that's the end of chapter 31. Onwards to chapter 32. I've been waiting for this moment for Kafka to go kaiju in front of Mina and Hoshina.
This read
Kaiju number 8, chapter 32. Oh, I love doing my dramatic readings. I love this job.
This reading, it's kaiju number 8.
I always felt something was off. But even so, I found myself taken in by his charm. Part of me was turning a blind eye to the possibility.
And Kafka standing there in front of this thing. And then it cuts to Mina, who's still speechless. Sir, do you have any idea what you're doing?
The fact remains, though, if something that huge explodes, it'll kill almost every officer here.
All of the squad leaders and the, runner-ups for being shoo-ins for joining the Corps.
The Vice Captain put his body on the line to fight. So I can't just keep sitting on the sidelines to save my own skin!
And Kafka's body starts to open up, like his elbow starts to open up again, preparing to blast. And then his legs start to open up to, give him a boost. And he starts charging up with energy. And all of a sudden, he stomps on the ground. Oh, stop! Stop it! Stop it! Stop it! Stop! Stop! You can't do this to me! You can't show that the tailed kaiju that punched into the ground after it became giant, made like a sizable crack in the ground. But Kafka merely stomps into the ground and he breaks every building within 4 blocks. Made me throw off my hat. You made me throw off my hat. What is this? You made me take my hat off. You made me take my hat off and get out my chair. Oh. He just stomps into the ground, and when he does, he is already airborne. This is the equivalent of Saitama jumping off of the moon and leaving a crater in the moon from the point of jumping. And he's already in the air. And then it shows him charging up power in his arm, and then he hits the Yoju bomb. And it actually shows Kafka. Blood is shooting all over his body while he's doing this punch. It's actually hurting him, seriously. And Ichikawa's watching, and then I need my glasses. Then it shows that this big old Yoju bomb suddenly gets deformed in on itself from Kafka punching it. It's like you hit a water balloon and you punch it and it folds in on itself because of the recoil of the punch. He punches this Yoju bomb and it just deflates into itself. Shocking Hoshina, Kikoru, all of the members of the Corps, Ichikawa, and even confusing the tailed kaiju's head.
What?
And everyone is looking up as Kafka lands right in between the 2 soldiers that saw him way back when that humanoid kaiju that can turn into that shapeshifting kaiju was there. He lands right next to them specifically. They made it a point to show that same people that saw him beforehand, he lands right next to them. And then Mina screams out, "All troops, hit the deck! Shields to max!" And we just see the explosion from space of this Yoju bomb going off. So much from me thinking that this was going to be enough to destroy an entire city. No, it could have destroyed almost the whole region if it actually, it would have destroyed the entire city and the resounding area around it too. The buildings from the shockwave are getting blown apart, and it's already high in the sky above the clouds. Ichikawa's covering, everyone is staying low as much as they can, and Kafka being the only one who is standing. This is such a hard panel! My goodness! While everyone is taking cover and protecting themselves, as the entire area is being whipped apart by the force of this explosion that is all the way in the sky, Kafka is the only one standing upright, as if nothing that is happening in the resounding area has any effect on him whatsoever. It's like watching Superman stand point blank at the point of a nuclear explosion. Everything else is blowing up, but he's just standing there, tanking it. It's not phasing him whatsoever. Where's my Kaiju number 8 game? Not the mobile gacha that they're trying to make. Where's my actual game? I want to hunt down some Yoju. I want to hunt down some Kaiju. Where's it at? Where is it at? I want to know. Why are you taking so long? No, I don't care about another anime fighting game. Where's my Kaiju number 8 game? Where is it? Because I need this. I need this. And then, while all this wind is being whipped around, Kafka's just standing there, and Mina is looking at Kafka going,
"That thing is Kafka?"
And it shows that same soldier that, spotted Kafka way back when. Kafka is just standing there, Did he protect him? Did he stand there to protect him from the blast?
Oh man, I screwed up this time. My arms and legs are shot. I ought to know better at my age. I pushed myself too far.
And then Ichikawa's running to get to him.
Sorry, Ichikawa. Forgive me, Kikoru.
And Mina's right behind Kafka, and she walks up.
Kafka Hibino.
And she's gripping her fist and kind of trembling. But then she points a gun directly at Kafka and says,
No. Kaiju number 8.
And all other soldiers are pointing guns at him.
I'm taking you into custody.
And it shows Kafka's kaiju form kind of just like falling away. It shows his human face underneath like the portion of his mask, on the left side of his mask, and he's just looking kind of almost hazy-eyed at Mina, who looks distraught. And that's the end of chapter 32. This might be one of the best chapters I've read. Nah, we gotta get the solo leveling game first. You're not wrong. We gotta get that solo leveling video game first before we get a Kaiju number 8 game. That takes priority. Also, I saw that Halster, you brought it up on how the recent episode of Solo Leveling got like 1,000, like 1.3 K dislikes on Crunchyroll. And my thing is, this is the episode where Jin is able to, well, you know what? No, I'm not gonna say. But people disliking the episode is completely insane and stupid. And if they think they're doing that, if people think they're disliking that particular episode because it doesn't have more fighting in it, then you literally miss the entire point of why Jin does what he does in the first place. Why he's gotten this strong. The very reason for it. So, ignorance. Kikoru warned him of this, Ichikawa too, but he wanted to save his friends. Yeah. Kaiju number 8. Chapter 33. We're almost done. Yeah, we're almost done. Hold on. Let me go back to the full list because we're going all the way to 35. Yeah, 35. We're almost done. We got 2 more chapters after this. I'm moving through this pretty smoothly. Been indifferent to most solo leveling episodes, but that was pretty much my favorite episode. I get you. It's still peak though. It is absolutely peak. But chapter 33, I'm getting sidetracked again. Please forgive me, please. And we just begin with just a board meeting talking about Kafka.
Kaiju number 8. I never would have dreamed a kaiju had infiltrated the defense force, let alone a Daikaiju class one. We must deal with him ASAP.
What do we tell the press?
We ought to keep this under wraps as we did with Kaiju number 9. I also hear a certain country is experimenting with kaiju to human tissue transplants. They would insist on having a say in this.
We should quickly dispose of him in secret and convert him into weaponry. Shouldn't we consider using him as a biological weapon first?
This desktop prattle is getting us nowhere. Action will come after we take him in. I'm ordering the 3rd Division to hand Kaiju number 8 over to us.
Director General of the Defense Force, Isao Shinomiya. Shinomiya's dad? I recognize those jagged-looking mustache and handlebar beard, the spiky facial hair anywhere. Wow. He has such a serious face. And I just gave him the wrong voice. Is that Shinomiya's dad?
I'm ordering the 3rd Division to hand Kaiju number 8 over to us.
Director General of the Defense Force, Isao Shinomiya. And then we have Kafka, who is currently being restrained in a room by himself, like Yuji was when Gojo met him.
Kaiju number 8's vitals are stable, showing no signs of transformation.
And Hoshina is just there in the background watching all this.
Has a full day passed already? What's going to happen to me now?
Nearly all the powerful kaiju are used as parts for special weapons. Worst case, you might suffer the same fate.
And then Kafka is thinking back to what Kikoru said.
Just when I thought I'd finally gotten one step closer to being by her side. I wonder if Mina's mad at me.
It's time.
And Mina walks in with armed guards.
You're being transferred to HQ's facilities.
Hey, me! And then Mina just immediately leaves. She starts moving, and she starts leaving. And giving Kafka the cold shoulder.
Yeah, I figured. I have been keeping one heck of a secret from her. And given her position, no doubt she's taking the blame, too.
And he gets outside, and he sees a ton of armed guards outside, including all of his friends. Iharu, Kikoru, and Ichikawa are amongst all the people.
Security detail for the trip is all ready, ma'am.
And they're all a part of that team.
Crap, I can't look him in the eye. I can't look him in the eyes.
I gotta say it correctly. I can't just make what words.
Crap, I can't look them in the eyes. I wound up betraying Ichikawa, too. He's been looking out for me this whole time. I bet he can't forgive what I've done. I'm sorry. This time it really is the end for...
Sir! And then Ichikawa speaks up.
I have faith that you'll come back. Huh?
And that's when the truck trailer that he's being transported in, closes behind him. Ichikawa, yo, this is the reason why Ichikawa is the best bro. Despite everything that's happened, he knows he's gonna come back. And before he could say anything, the doors are already closed before, Kafka can respond.
That darn Ichikawa. He'll get 50 push-ups for his unauthorized outburst.
Mina.
When you dashed in to save the base without a moment's hesitation, I was shocked to see you as a kaiju. But I also thought, this is such a Kafka move. We have testimony and footage to vouch for you. If we can prove that you're human, there's a chance you can escape disposal. We're also going to report all of your deeds as an officer as well. In the 3rd Division, not a single person considers you a kaiju threat.
Let's go, 3rd Division! They all look at Kafka. They all want Kafka to come back! The 3rd Division has his back! You gotta love it. You gotta love it.
In the 3rd Division, not a single person considers you a kaiju threat. It's time. Sit. Kafka Hibino, based on Article 13 of the Defense Force Regulations, we are transferring you to the Ariake Maritime... Ariake? Yeah. We are transferring you to the Ariake Maritime Base. To ensure civilian safety on the way, we have...
Mina. Can I still strive for a place by your side?
And then there's silence. And she looks up at him with her eyes kind of glistening, with a lot of detail drawn in this panel going,
Sure. I'll be waiting.
And then Kafka's just crying his eyes out. Then we get to Koto Ward, Tokyo, Defense Force Ariake Maritime Base. Bulkheads 23 to 31. Sealed. Locks are in proper working order. Kaiju number 8 is now contained. And it shows Kafka just in this solitary room, this very, very big solitary room, still chained up to a chair. Episode 4, Kaiju number 8, captured. And that is the end of chapter 33. Onwards to chapter 34. One more after this one, and then we're done for today's reading. I might need to move my Wuthering Wave stream time to maybe possibly 3. Possibly, so I can have that extra window for eating. Kaiju number 8, chapter 34. He's the closest thing to a day one man without actually being one. Pretty much, yeah. Chapter 34. And then we get Aoi, Iharu, Ichikawa, everyone else.
Oh man, I still can't believe it. Who would have thought the old timer was Kaiju number 8? I mean, come on, that pot-bellied geezer. Am I right, Reno? Am I right, Reno?
And Ichikawa's not saying anything because even though they know that Kafka is Kaiju number 8, they don't know that Ichikawa has always known too. Food must be had first? Yeah. Depending on how I get this done, we're probably not going to start the Wuthering Wave stream until possibly 3. Yeah, just to give myself that extra room of time. I'm not going to mess with it now because I don't want to jack anything up.
I mean, come on, that pot-bellied geezer. Am I right, Reno?
Ichikawa was silent. This is the operation room. Coming in. Come in. Report to the captain's office. And then we get Iharu and all of the other dudes like Aoi and Furuhashi. They all, is it Iharu Furuhashi? Is that his whole name? I'm pretty much getting him confused. The dude with the and swept back hair. He's there as well. I forget his name. I forget so many names. Moving on. Report to the captain's office. And now we're here with Captain Mina.
A transfer? To another division?
Yes, as a temporary measure. The recent Kaiju disaster has resulted in a 75% reduction in the Tachikawa base's functionality. As a result, we've deemed it unsuitable as a training facility. First, number 9, and now number 10, the Dai Kaiju keep coming. It's led the top brass to suspect one thing, that this might be a series of continuing cataclysms.
Do you mean there's more to come, ma'am?
Not just more, but possibly more at the same time. We need to prepare ourselves for that possibility. And you all are key. We're taking every division's most talented rookies and training them across division boundaries.
But the 3rd division, and I admire it in you so much that...
I'll do it. And before Iharu can say anything more, Ichikawa immediately chimes in and says, I need to get stronger.
Reno, you...
Well, I'd say this is a fine opportunity. Even if I were to stay in the same place, I doubt I could catch up to Shinomiya. You're not the only one who wants to get stronger, Reno.
Ah! Then I'll do it too, you piece of crap! You're the one person I refuse to lose to!
Please keep the fighting to Kaiju. And then Ichikawa was thinking to himself, I swear I'll get even stronger. I'll be waiting for you. You can count on it, sir. And then we cut to a completely different location to Isao. General Isao. State your business, Kikoru. And he's just speaking to his speaking to his daughter. And then Kikoru is speaking up.
Director General Shinomiya, sir, I have come to request that you repeal orders to dispose of Kafka Hibino. He has personally saved my life, so I humbly suggest a lenient punishment for...
Pathetic fool.
And this shuts up Kikoru immediately. Also, rude.
Hoshina already reported that much to me. Are you here to tell me about your worthless failures?
But, and then all of a sudden, he tosses an envelope towards Kikoru.
These are x-rays of his body. He's made that thing on the left side of his chest look like a heart, but it's a core.
This can't be.
He is no human. He is a kaiju. Of the same scourge that killed your mother. A kaiju. If you understand, then leave.
So, General Shinomiya has like a personal vendetta against Kaiju because it took Kikoru's mom and his wife. So, yeah, he's got like a personal problem against Kaiju. Okay. And then Kikoru speaks up.
Daddy? Even so, I still want to believe in him.
And she says this before she leaves. Then we cut back to Kafka in this room. I think me coughing 3 times and getting that thing out of my system has helped. I think I may have dislodged what was ever giving me trouble. But Kafka's back in this room.
If we can prove that you're human, there's a chance you can escape disposal.
You can expose escape disposal?
If we can prove that you're human, there's a chance you can escape disposal.
It's just as Mina says. I'll prove that I'm a human and get back to the others. First, I need to get them to hear me out.
And then a door opens up and someone walks through into this room with Kafka. And it's General Shinomiya! And he's dressed up to fight. He is dressed up to fight. He's got a whole squad of people with guns and cases. But General Shinomiya is dressed up in full combat gear. Except unlike the normal battle suits you see everyone else wearing, his is just purely jet black. He doesn't have like the white pauldrons or the white shoes. His is just straight up jet black with plates instead of it just being one full thing. It's Director General Shinomiya. And then we get other people watching on.
I never would have guessed the General Director would go him in himself. That man always settles important matters personally.
And even Kikoru is watching from the observation window. Director General, I assure you I am not a kite.
Release his restraints.
And then what is about to happen? What is about to happen? What do you mean release his restraints?
Release his restraints.
But, sir, this is Kaiju number 8. It's far too dangerous to...
And then General Shinomiya looks up wide-eyed and goes,
Have you forgotten who I am?
And then the person in charge, the scientist up top, is all like,
If he's really a Daikaiju class threat, then he could easily break those manacles. He's here of his own free will.
And the restraints come off.
He just might hear me out. Director General Shinomiya, I'm a human that I...
And then General Shinomiya immediately points a gun at Kafka. And Kafka goes, huh? And he opens fire on Kafka immediately.
Kafka Hibino!
And then Shinomiya screaming out. But Kafka, while he momentarily gets lifted off the ground by these very powerful rounds, he finds his footing, and it shows that he blocked those bullets with his partially transformed arm.
What's the meaning of this, sir?
And then all of a sudden, while Kafka's there talking to General Shinomiya, Isao is already next to Kafka and rips out a chunk of his flesh with his bare hands. He literally just jabs his hands into Kafka's side and clenches it. And he just, like my dad would say, like wrench it off. He just wrenches it off of his body.
I'll let you in on a little secret. In this world, a life form that can stop bullets with their bare skin could never be considered human. Kaiju number 8.
And it shows that he's basically taken the blood that's from Kafka and letting it pour into a vial. And then Kafka starts crackling with energy. Is he about to transform? And it looks like Kafka is preparing to transform while Kikoru is just watching on in disbelief. That's chapter 34. Onwards to the last chapter 4, volume 4. Kaiju number 8, chapter 35.
In this world, a life form that can stop bullets with its bare skin could never be considered human. Kaiju number 8.
And Kikoru's looking, and then Kafka's standing there, and as he goes,
I'm not Kaiju number 8. I'm Kafka Hibino. I see. FS 1002 lock released. Request for usage permission cleared. Nerve link cleared. Driver and Kaiju number 2 cell synchronization All cleared.
Oh wait, no. This is just them announcing all the stuff that's happening because they'll open up the case.
I see.
FS-1002, lock released. Request for usage permission cleared. Nerve link cleared.
He's putting on, Isao is putting on some gear.
Driver and Kaiju number 2 cell synchronization, all cleared. FS-1002, activation complete.
Then you can die in that form. Now commencing disposal of Kaiju number 8.
And it's General Shinomiya who basically has Kitty. Director General Shinomiya is using the pile driver from Armored Core 6. He literally has them on his hands. He has personal pile driver pike drivers on his fists. This is how he's going to try and take out Kafka, using the pile drivers from Armored Core 6.
Now commencing disposal of Kaiju number 8.
I won't fully transform. I swear I'm gonna prove that I'm a human. And all of a sudden, we get like this visage of a hand that comes down right in front of Kafka.
Huh?
And there's a large explosion. And it tears up the ground, it takes off Kafka's left arm, and it leaves enormous claw marks in the ground. And General Shinomiya is just looking at Kafka, Kafka's realizing, oh no, this dude's strong.
Holy crap!
And then General Shinomiya proceeds to then punch towards Kafka, releasing a shockwave that sends him flying to the other side of this very large room. And the hit is hard enough to literally shake the entire room itself.
Hasn't missed a beat, has he? In the past, he was hailed as the strongest soldier the Defense Force has ever seen.
So now Kafka is dealing with he was the former strongest soldier the Defense Force has ever seen. This is what we're ending this volume with. What?
In the past, he was hailed as the strongest soldier the Defense Force has ever seen.
And his weapons of choice is just beating Kaiju to death with his bare hands and pile drivers. But it shows Kafka has kind of transformed a little bit. Like his knee has transformed and his other arm is transformed as well.
You're looking much more like a kaiju now.
And then Isao goes in for another punch, but Kafka kind of dodges.
I've got no choice but to dodge the Director General till he overheats.
Then there's this keen sound, and we have Kafka's body reacting to apparently what Isao is doing.
Why is my body reacting like this? It's the same feeling I had when I faced off against those Dai Kaiju.
And he's looking at Isao as he's going,
it's the Director General. He's emitting the aura of a Dai Kaiju?
He is... oh my goodness, the Director General gives off the same aura as an actual Dai Kaiju. That is how powerful he is. He might as well be a human Dai Kaiju before Kafka. My goodness. Kaiju number 2. Deputy Officer, Defense Force Deputy Director, Keiji Itame. Kaiju number 2. The monster that nearly destroyed Sapporo back in 1972 and the second to be issued an ID number. A tremendously destructive Daikaiju. It held on to its strong sense of pride up until its dying breath. That suit and those arms were built with number 2 as its base. So that's That's the reason why it's giving off the aura of a Daikaiju, because it's literally made from a Daikaiju.
That suit and those arms were built with number 2 as its base. And the only person capable of wielding them is your father, Isao Shinomiya.
And it cuts to Kafka, who tries to dodge out of the way, but just the mere shockwave. And also, yeah, Kaiju number 2 was an incredibly large, giant Daikaiju. But Kafka goes and tries to dodge out of the way of Isao's punch, but winds up getting his whole right side just kind of blown off from just the shockwave. Just from the shockwave, from the momentum of Isao's punch, it launches off Kafka's arm and destroys the ground right behind him.
I get it. This is what Kikoru was talking about.
Identified kaiju weapons.
Identified kaiju weapons, aka numbers.
And then all of a sudden, Kafka gets punched again.
No, don't take the blow. Gotta dodge.
And while he's saying this, both his arm and legs immediately get blown off by Director General Shinomiya. He's thinking, I just need to jump away and dodge, but no, he has no legs to jump with. Both of his legs and his left arm have been completely obliterated.
What?
And then it shows General Shinomiya getting close to Kafka while he's still very vulnerable. And it shows the eye of Isao, and then Kafka, sweating bullets, just goes,
darn it all.
And the last thing we get is Kafka getting punched directly in his chest, full powered by Isao Shinomiya. And that is where we end Volume 4 for Kaiju number 8. This was a good volume. This was such a good volume. Oh my goodness, I can't wait to read more. But ladies and gentlemen, what we witnessed was Kafka basically exposing himself as a kaiju to pretty much everybody. Him being subject to disposal, even though he willingly gave himself up, and trying to prove his innocence. Kikoru's dad is in charge of disposing of Kafka because he has a personal vendetta against kaiju because one killed his wife, Kikoru's mom. And even Kikoru is not enough. This guy is not the strongest anymore, by the way, and that ain't a spoiler. It said so in the chapter. I know. I also stated that he's not the strongest either, so that wasn't lost on me. I addressed that when it said in the past in that chapter, so don't worry. I know he's not the strongest. He's just currently a very incredibly strong one that Kafka's facing right now. But now even Kikoru tried to vouch for Kafka, but Isao don't care. It's a kaiju. Look at his x-rays. Where his heart should be, that is now his core. Humans don't have that. Humans who can block bullets with their skin are not human. You're not a human. And now he's trying to dispose of Kafka, who's trying to defend himself, but it shows that literally Isao is basically the Garp of this world. He's just insanely strong, using the power of Kaiju number 2. Not only does it give him incredible power and incredible gauntlets, but it also gives him a suit that gives him the entire aura of a Daikaiju. But we got to talk about how strong number 8 is. Also, I love Isao's design. It's so cool. I know, it's so cool. It is so cool. Like the sleekness of his design in comparison with the rest of the Defense Force outfits, where it has a lot of blacks and a lot of grays and a lot of whites on it. His is just black all the way through, and his is far more plated and everything. It looks like it's just sectional plating rather than it just being like a full-on outfit that is skin tight to the body. This is like battle This is like battle ready armor. So it's his design is really cool. Not just on his clothing part, but also his facial structure as well. Because we saw him when he was younger, when we were looking at memories of Kikoru when she was a kid, and he had a cool design as well. It's like the design of Mihawk's facial hair, but on overdrive. It's essentially like that for him. But let's also talk about how strong Kaiju number 8 is. Fortitude of 9.8. The Dragon Kaiju. The Dragon Kaiju, the tailed Kaiju, it essentially cratered the ground when it grew into a large Dai Kaiju. But when Kafka just literally launched off the ground, it broke several blocks just from the force of his one singular jump. And then he destroyed an amalgamation of Yoju that was preparing to explode and take out the entire area. That's just his power. Mind you, his power was not at 9.8 the last time Okonogi had a reading on him. I know for a fact that his fortitude level was not 9.8. It was lower. So that means that Kafka is getting stronger. Also, when did the name of number 9 get revealed? It didn't. It didn't get revealed. If you're talking about the one that has like the flat top and can explode its fingers, its name has not been revealed. It's just been called Kaiju number 9. That's it. That's just 9. We call it 9. But yeah, but this was a very good volume. So many, and the art was actually really good in this volume too. I love the faces. He was 9 before, and they tossed it aside saying it was a fluke. Okay. All right, sure. All right, cool. Yeah, I'm probably just forgetting. I'm probably just forgetting from the previous volumes that we read through. But the way that this entire volume was drawn and the pacing for it, the pacing was good because I'm getting through these volumes fast. Not in a fast, quick, super fast, the chapters are short kind of way, but getting through them, a lot faster and smoother than I have with other read-throughs, because sometimes they could last maybe an hour, maybe 2 hours, depending on the chapters, and sometimes I would not have as many chapters as I do here in these volumes. But the pacing is going quite well. I'll tag the chapter cutout. You've read it? Okay, I know I've read it. Yeah, I just probably forgot. That's what that is. But overall, good volume. Very good volume. Very good volume. Looking forward to next Monday where we pick up with Volume 5 and see where we go from here with Kafka presently at the mercy of Director General Isao Shinomiya. So yeah, ought to be fun. But I'm going to go ahead and call it a session for today as far as like reading. We'll have a Wuthering Waves session a little bit later on after I eat some food. And then we'll progress through there, try and get Arena Sita opened up so I can start upgrading Phoebe. And tomorrow, Tuesday, at I believe 12:30 is when I will start playing Monster Hunter Wilds. I am freed up to do so we're going to have just a ton of fun and time playing through that game. I can't wait. But let me not keep you here. Any longer than I've already have. So apologies for taking so long. Apologies for being late at the beginning. Overall, I had a great time, and I hope you all did too. This is literally the 3rd day of March. Anything can happen, and I'm looking forward to great things happening for you, great things happening for me, great things happening for this entire channel. So with that being said, hope you all enjoyed. Can't wait to see you all in my next video. Like, comment, and subscribe if you haven't already, because I am always looking forward to entertaining you. So have a fantastic day, and once again, as always, later, peoples!